Good afternoon. Hope you guys are enjoying the presentation so far. My name is Jan Yesvang, and I'm the CIO for the County of Napa, and I'm also the mentor to this great team that you see before you. What we're going to be talking, or what they're going to be doing, is presenting their project, which was vendor product reviews, and they'll go through a little bit more detail about that. So without further ado, I'll introduce you to Team Sierra.
Great. Thank you, Jan. I don't have to pronounce his last name now, which is nice, but we're Team Sierra. I'd like to introduce everybody quickly, and then we'll run through our slide deck here. So we have Brad from Nevada County, myself from Nevada County, Phil, Bruce from Nevada County. He's not here today, couldn't make it. Jeff from Amador County. We have Kirk from Mono County. And we have Luyen from Placer County, who could not be in attendance. And we have Mike from Placer County. You ready, Kurt?
So when we first started casting about for ideas of what type of project we wanted to do, we kind of each drew up an idea of what we wanted to do. But the winning thing was we wanted to talk about reviews, because the key question is, and this may not be a totally fair comparison, but how much information do you have to make a critical purchasing decision? If we want to buy a $10 keyboard, there's 11,000 reviews on Amazon.com. But if I want to buy something that costs $10,000, I can find virtually no information online giving the pros and cons of that piece of hardware or equipment or that vendor. And so we wanted to set up a system where we could categorize reviews. We thought about the current system that the CISDA uses, which is GroupSite. But GroupSite seems to have two main drawbacks. One is the difficulty of going back in history to look through things that have been discussed prior. And the other is it's not really very structured. So the responses you may get would vary anyway from a contact. You might get a detailed review, or you might just get one or two lines. It's not very well structured, and there's no star rating to say a lot of people like this or a lot of people hate it. And so we wanted to set up a system where we could truly have reviews. And as we brainstormed and talked about what would make an effective system for the CISDA community, we came up with some defining principles. One, if a review system is to be effective, it needs to be simple. We're all busy. We don't have time for a cumbersome system. It has to be easy. It should be smart and intelligent, where it gives us the information we're looking for with a few clicks and categorizes and presents relevant results. It should be rewarding, where maybe at a setting like CISDA, top contributors can be recognized for their efforts and their contributions to the community in writing good reviews that other people can recognize. And it needs to be relevant. If we create such a system, it has to be used, because otherwise it's a lot of effort and time and money poured down the hole for something that's not used by anybody. So those were the defining characteristics of a review system, and our project was to create a prototype. We weren't able to deliver a fully functioning system, but our goal was a prototype of a vendor review system. So basically, as we started through the process, phase one was figure out what exactly we want, and phase two was to see if anything like that existed out there.
So I'm Brad from Nevada County, and like any good Capstone team, we all did a survey as well. So with that being said, we sent an email out asking for you guys to use our SurveyMonkey and respond. So we asked 14 questions. We got 33 responses from you out there in the community, which is great. So thank you all. So what we wanted to know was what would be valuable to you guys in a review system, right? So we know that we can ask lots of questions. People can write long chunks of information, but what was the most value that you would get out of a review system? The top three that came back in was usability, what the implementation was like, and overall satisfaction. Now, there really wasn't anything you guys didn't want to know about. So the bottom three were, did they have conferences, product communities, and product, if the product fell into a certain category. So with that being said, that was what we learned from you guys about what was valuable in a product review.
I'm Mike Lewis from Placer County. Taking that information with our system design and your survey results, we conducted a market survey, a research survey of products that are in the market before we started thinking about custom development that could perform these type of functions. Gartner, I think everyone is familiar with or has heard of, and Infotech, a slightly smaller but less expensive competitor to Gartner. The primary drawbacks of those being that those relationships are generally between vendor and client, like a traditional consulting relationship, and not involving the CISDA or the county community. So one of the most compelling things out of this project that we found that we would like to make you all aware of is a new site that's not released yet called GovLaunch, govlaunch.com. Jeff White stumbled across that in his research, and we were able to arrange a 1-hour demo with the developer, and they were very generous in sharing their business design and what they expect to see in future functionality. And it is planned to be a free service. It would take a .gov email address validation in order to enter the site or view content on the site. But it is, oddly enough, we came up with this idea on our own, and there's somebody out there about to launch the same service for free for the government in order to share information, reviews, and pricing about products, not specifically for IT, but across all government products. So from there, we started to develop a demo.
So the team concludes that a system needs to be simple. We all have very busy at our job, so if it's not simple, we're really not going to get in and use it. It's got to be secure, it's got to be relevant, it's got to be rewarding, and if it has all those things, it has a better chance of being sustainable. So we start out when we created a kind of a mock website to see what would this look like, and of course, the first thing we came up with was it's got to have secure login. So here's kind of what a secure login screen would look like for it, and the administration would validate that it is government. It's part of the CISDA technical community and not someone outside the community. The purpose there is so that we are comfortable in putting in reviews, regardless of how good or bad the review might be. We can put in an honest review, and we're not worried about maybe receiving those solicitations coming back to, what could they do, or what could someone do to improve a rating, that sort of thing. Now, what if someone doesn't have access to it? We figure one of the easiest ways to do that is just have a quick and easy access request screen. You put in key information, submit it. Whoever's doing the administration can validate that information and proceed with the credentials. We'd have a simple overview. It would have a review input, or I'm sorry, a review search screen. So you could search by vendor name, by product name, something like that, and get your relevant searches back. And it would have the input screen, because that's really where the value is going to come from. The more we input reviews, the more value the system's going to have, the more someone's going to get relevant search information back. And also, too, you have raw access to the raw data, so you can download that data and mine it to whatever purposes you're really trying to you need for whatever you're working on. So you get the raw data. And if you find value in the system, you want to be able to invite other community members through the CISDA community, so you'd have an invite colleague section, put in some key information, and they can get set up in the system. So for a vision, we see going forward, it has to be developed. And so what does that mean? It could either be third party, it could be a future Capstone group that could do development. But there's a few things they'd have to overcome, like identify a tool, build the host, and refine the administration of it so that it is secure to the community. In summary, we think the system would have value. You guys stated that in the surveys, and we felt that as well going into it, so it was confirmed. Development and administrative both show some challenges there that would have to be overcome. And if it does go live, we think the value would really allow it to be sustainable. Thank you.
All right, so in closing here, we just wanted to go over a couple lessons learned. First, that OneNote is pretty darn awesome. We were able to collaborate with everybody across the different platforms and counties, and so that was super helpful. We used Zoom as our meeting so we could meet and see each other when we chose to. So that was a great tool. Another challenge we see is this, the cost of maintaining this, and just also like who would take ownership of it to keep it up. And then I just wanted to add a special thanks to Kirk for, you know, helping herd the cats in this whole thing. He was our organizer, so that was super helpful for us. So thank you, Kirk. And then any questions?